Greetings, organisms. This is Matt Patrick. It's time to play Give That Character a Spin-Off. Okay, I don't really want to do this, but the magical forces commands it. Come on, show me the potential. No whammies, no double whammies, no triple whammies, and stop! Really? Well, that was unexpected. I really don't see the point of making more SpongeBob spin-offs to any of his friends. We already know he's still a huge hit on Nickelodeon, but the main show is enough to curate the whole thing. No additions required. If you saw my review of the Sandy Cheeks movie, like a lot of SpongeBob fans, I did not like it one bit. It had bad jokes, lazy script, it made our favorite characters uninteresting and annoying, and contained some really horrible effects. Everything about it was not a Sandy Cheeks movie. Because of this, I had a lot of doubts for any future spin-offs like Plankton's movie. But here's the thing. I don't know who, how, or why is everybody still doing this, but the Plankton movie also got leaked like the Sandy movie before it was taken down for good. Again, I didn't see any of the leaked footage. I waited until the film's released on Netflix. So now that we're moving from a SpongeBob hero movie to a villain movie, could this be Plankton's most successful plan yet? Welcome to another episode of the Wonder Reviews. Insert this glorious Sheldon joke here. This is Plankton, the movie. The film's about the main villain from the series, Sheldon J. Plankton. He wants to steal the Krabby Patty secret formula so he can take over the world. And of course, he's always thwarted by either SpongeBob or Mr. Krabs. His computer wife Karen has had enough of the tiny man because he never appreciated or loved her that much even as a duo. So she decided to take over the world all by herself by absorbing all the building and other metals in Bikini Bottom to form a giant robot. And it's up to Plankton to learn the errors of his ways and win back Karen's heart. So out of all the SpongeBob spin-offs, this is surprisingly better than the ones that we got from the past. The thing is, if I'm going to watch a Plankton movie, then I'm gonna have to learn about Plankton in his own movie. Which it did. It explains how he built Karen, why he wants to take over the world, and we even see him go to college that he keeps blabbering about. Speaking of the former, the movie managed to do a good job in exploring the relationship between the villain and his computer wife. Karen wants to be a value of the world domination scheme, while Plankton just wants to achieve victory. Now, does that make up for everything? Not a lot of it. There are still some issues with the movie that keeps it away from being on par with the first two SpongeBob movies. One is that it's another goal where the characters have to save Bikini Bottom again, and I'm already exhausted by it. It's starting to feel like a Friday routine for these characters, and we already know things will go back to normal in no time. And as much as I say the romance between Plankton and Karen is good, there was already a SpongeBob episode where Plankton tries to win Karen's heart in Single Cell Anniversary. Also, there was a bit of a retcon on Plankton's motive of stealing the secret formula because another episode, Friend or Foe, already established why he wants to steal it and how he and Mr. Krabs went from friends to enemies. But since this is supposed to be a romance comedy, what's the SpongeBob humor like in this one? The answer is, the comedy is pretty good. Okay, there are some I didn't laugh at, but everything else like the slapstick, expressions, fourth wall bits, and especially the visual gags present the best jokes in the movie. In addition, they do make some callbacks from the show, and there are some entertaining moments whenever the characters sing a musical number. However, don't expect it to be some kind of Disney or Don Bluth style musical. There are only a few songs in the first half of the film, but they managed to make the most of them by using some unique art styles and visual effects. Now, does it still feel like an extended episode of SpongeBob? Sort of, but for the most part, it has the material needed to make a Plankton movie. And I will give it credit that it doesn't repeat the exact same formula that the others have, like having a celebrity guest in it, and we don't see the characters venture out into the service world during their mission. We mostly stay underwater to see what many of them are doing and know their roles respectfully. So what are the characters like in this spin-off? Well, they are better, and some do serve a purpose in it, but the rest don't really offer a lot. Let's start off with the famous SpongeBob villain, Plankton. In the show, he wants to steal the secret formula so he can take over the world. In the movie, however, we actually got some new developments from him that we haven't seen before. Not only does he have to learn how to love and appreciate Karen, but we do learn about his past history on how he became an evil genius and built the Chum Bucket as a failed restaurant. SpongeBob is still one of the main characters in this, but he doesn't feel shoehorned as he was in the other spin-off. He's more like the voice of reason to Plankton, where he has to help him reach a compromise with Karen. Even his comedy is better here as this psychiatrist in training. The other allies that help SpongeBob and Plankton are the Gal Pals, Sandy, Pearl, and Mrs. Puff. Their role is that they want to save Bikini Bottom and Karen because she's their friend. I do like that the Gal Pals are like this crime-fighting trio in this, and their friendship with Karen is true. There were some episodes where all four girls do hang out during their night-offs. For the other SpongeBob characters, they're not really important in this. With the exception of Patrick, who's just an extra comic relief to aid SpongeBob and Plankton, everyone else like Mr. Krabs, Squidward, Gary, and more are just background characters since they are part of the cartoon. Finally, there's Plankton's computer wife, Karen, and to be honest, she was an entertaining antagonist. Her world domination plan sounds nearly foolproof, and she goes through a crazy transformation where she splits her evil, smart, and snarky personalities individually. But if we're going over the relationship between the computer and the single cell, they do have a nice villainous chemistry. They've been outcasted for how different they were during their past life, so they like to do chaos and mischief together. As it is a SpongeBob movie on Netflix, the animation is still stuck in 3D animation. However, unlike the CGI in Saving Bikini Bottom, the computer animation is handled much better in terms of visuals and execution. First off, the live-action bits are used a lot less than any of the other SpongeBob movies. It only occurs when Plankton and Karen tries to reach the surface beach for their world domination plan. And they do not heavily rely on some extra effects to the real-world characters or backgrounds. For the rest of the animation, the character designs and movements do stay true to the spirit of the show despite the 3D filter, while the cartoony animation does present a lot of energy to many of the characters like SpongeBob's over-the-top abilities, the Gal Pals action scenes, or the choreography during the musical numbers. The only issue I would have is that Bikini Bottom doesn't really offer a lot in this movie, since most of the time, it's just a deserted environment after Karen removed all the buildings. Even Plankton's old college, Bikini State University, doesn't seem to stand out because it's just a generic campus. On the contrary, there are some locations that do stand out the most and offer some atmosphere, like the Gal Pal's secret lair, or inside the giant Karen robot. There's also the use of technology where it presents a lot of creativity on how they're built or operate, whether it be Plankton's freeze ray, his Karen prototype, or Karen herself both in her rogue transformation and giant robot form. But the best moments in the movie that I was surprised to see are some of the other art styles, from the anime artworks during the Say My Name Karen song, to the black and white Fleischer flashback, to the surreal wackiness inside Plankton's empathy subconscious. Unlike the last attempt with CGI where they showed the 3D effects on the screen and put in some fake ugly photoshops, here, I don't know if they got a new art director or they took the time to render the whole thing, but the style does feel like we're watching SpongeBob in a new environment. I still would prefer the hand-drawn, but the animation does remain faithful to the source material. There have been a lot of talks about the other SpongeBob spin-offs all over the internet, like how Camp Coral and the Patrick Star Show were unnecessary, and the Sandy Cheeks movie was the worst SpongeBob movie. But I never thought I would say this, Plankton's movie turned out to be decent. Plankton the movie is unexpectedly better than Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks movie. Well, it's not the best SpongeBob movie with a repetitive plot and some recycled plot elements, but the characters are still likable, and in character, the 3D animation is better than last time, the jokes are funny, and the film does succeed as a legitimate spin-off. If you like SpongeBob, or you enjoy many of the Plankton Center episodes, then you will like this. Now, does that mean there's hope for any of the future SpongeBob movies? Maybe for the main ones, but for any more character spin-offs, I don't know if they could keep that kind of promise. Either way, it's a good start. Plankton is still a failure on stealing the Krabby Patty formula, but with his own movie, I think he finally got himself a small win. I'm going to give the Plankton movie a B-. I'm Mad Hair Patrick. Now if you excuse me, I'm going to have some holographic meatloaf. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed this, check out these other videos, or feel free to like, comment, and subscribe for more upcoming reviews and other projects. I'll see you soon.